You're watching the Baseball Breakdown on Aycorp Sports.
Welcome to Week 4 of Aycorp Sports Baseball Breakdown. Game 1, Notre Dame versus Jackson. Senior John Paul Sawyer making his season debut. Sawyer had an ACL tear from playing football for the Indians back in August. But Sawyer wastes no time returning to form as he strikes out the Bulldog Landwees swinging. After a ground out, Sawyer gets Clark swinging, 2 Ks in the inning from Sawyer. After a flyout, Rhodes singles on a ground ball to the right side. 1 out, next batter Osborne doubles to left field. Rhodes advances to third. After 2 walks, Neninger hits into the double play. Bulldogs out of the inning. But there's a catcher interference call by the umpire. Indians catch a break and everybody's safe. 2-0 Jackson. 2 outs now, bases loaded, and Indians' Drew Parsons decides he'll put in a big swing on this pitch. All the way to the warning track. 3 runs score, and Parsons has a stand-up triple. 5-0 Indians. Pitching change for the Bulldogs, and Parsons scores on a wild pitch, adding another run for the Indians. Notre Dame's Lawson Mills gets Waylon Hale swinging to end the first. Second inning, and Sawyer is dealing, strikes out Morgan looking. Bonham goes down looking. John Paul Sawyer in his return on the mound goes 2 innings, striking out 4. Bottom of the second, 2 on and nobody out. Sophomore Lance Wilson rips one up the middle. 2 runs will score, and Jackson is running away with it, 9-0 Indians. Weber hits a shot to Landwees, who makes a great play to the second baseman Lawson for the double play. Two on and 2 outs. Brown hits a single to left field. 2 runs score. Left fielder Bolin for the Bulldogs makes a nice play on the relay, and the Bulldogs get Brown trying to advance to second to end the inning. Brett Dohan up to the plate, and he rips one right down the right field line. He's in there with a stand-up double, and the Bulldogs have a man in scoring position. Top of the 4th, Bolin singles on a line drive to left fielder Rhodes. Next batter, Clark doubles on a fly ball to center fielder Brown, and the Bulldogs get a run on the board. Your final from Indian Stadium, Jackson 16, Notre Dame 1. Game 2, Oran versus East Prairie. Belisites hits a fly ball to center field. Braylon Morgan comes home to give Oran a 1-0 lead in the bottom of the first. East Prairie's Chloe Jackson flies out to shortstop Braylon Morgan in the top of the third. Kendall Berger singles on a bunt. Molly Spain hits a sacrifice fly ball to center fielder Allison Miller. Mari Fuelmeller tags up to give Oran a 2-0 lead. Kendall Berger steals home to add another run for Oran. Oran's Ava forehand bunts, and Belisite scores after a throwing error from East Prairie pitcher Riley Wilson in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Oran has a 4-0 lead. East Prairie's Kylie Schaffner strikes out swinging but reaches after a drop ball and a throwing error by the catcher. Schaffner ends up on third base. Anna Gilliam and Harper Marshall scores because of that play. Oran leads 4-2. Allison Miller singles on a line drive to cut the deficit to 1. Oran leads 4-3 in the top of the 4th. Oran's Kendall Berger singles on a line drive to center fielder Allison Miller. Miller throws the ball to catcher Ava Bright. Braylon Morgan is tagged out at home to end the inning. But Sophie Bryan scores on the play to give Oran a 5-3 lead. Anna Gilliam hits a fly ball to center field to bring Allison Miller and Ayla Dunn home to cut Oran's lead to 6-5. Ava Bright lines out to third baseman Kendall Berger. Oran's Belisite singles to bring Braylon Morgan home. Caroline Brashear flies out to center fielder Ayla Dunn to end the bottom of the 6th. East Prairie's Allison Miller hits a line drive triple to left field. Ayla Dunn singles on a ground ball to bring Miller home. Molly Spain strikes out Addie Aders to end the game, giving the Oran Lady Eagles an 8-6 victory. Oran's Molly Spain finishes the game with 17 strikeouts.
The East Prairie Eagles versus the Oran Eagles. Junior Carson Kern getting the start on the bump for the Oran Eagles. With 2 on and 2 out, Owen Knight up the dish, and Kern gets him looking to end the top of the 1st. Noah Johnson getting the start for the East Prairie Eagles. And Cole Berger hits a line drive to the right fielder for a leadoff single. With 1 on and 1 out, Rylan Mills singles on a hard ground ball to right field. 2 runners on with 1 out. Runners on 2nd and 3rd, 1 out, and Johnson gets Cooper Bryant to go down swinging, 2 outs. Next batter, on a 1-2 count, Nolan Looper rips a line drive to center field. 2 runs will score, and Oran's up 2-0 in the bottom of the 1st. Bottom of the 2nd now, both pitchers will begin to settle in. Johnson strikes out Dernberger looking. Next batter, Cooper Sensaboy strikes out swinging. 2 outs, and Johnson sets him down in order to end the 2nd. On to the top of the 3rd, and Carson Kern is dealing. He gets Johnson looking. Next batter, Newton goes down on strikes. Carson Kern would strike out the side in the top of the 3rd. Bottom of the 3rd, 2 outs, runner on 2nd, and Bryant hits a long fly ball to the left field corner, but Henderson's there to make a nice diving catch and end the 3rd inning. In the top of the 4th, Nolan Looper comes in to relieve Kern. Kern goes 3 innings, doesn't allow a hit, striking out 5. On to the 5th inning, Nolan Looper strikes out the side, Oran still leading 2-0. Top of the 6th inning now, and Newton hits a ground ball to the second baseman. He'll reach on an error. Next batter, Wallace, he hits a fly ball single to center field, and Newton advances to second base. After a fly out, Owen Knight steps up to the dish, and he hits a line drive to center field. Newton's going to score, Wallace scores, and Knight advances to second on the throw home. And we're tied 2-2 in the 6th inning. On to extra innings now. We're in the bottom of the 8th, 2-2 game. Oran up to bat. Wallace is in relief for Johnson. Johnson went 6 innings, allowed 2 runs on 5 hits, striking out 7 for the East Prairie Eagles. Wallace walks Mills to start off the 8th, then strikes out Bryant for the 1st out. Looper then grounds out to the first baseman for the 2nd out. East Prairie gives 2 intentional walks to load the bases. Cooper Sensaboy hits a ground ball to the pitcher, and he's going to reach on an error. Mills scores the winning run from 3rd to end the game. Your final score after 8 innings, the Oran Eagles 3, the East Prairie Eagles 2. Avery Woolsey gets the start for the Kelly Hawks. After a strikeout and a couple of walks, Woolsey gets out of trouble in the top of the 1st. Baylor Eftink pitching for the Bell City Cubs. He gets the strikeout to end the inning. Top of the 2nd, 1 out. Shebel grounds out to the second baseman, Daniel Miller, who makes a nice play. Next batter, Stubbenrau, goes down swinging. Bottom of the 2nd, Kelly has a man on with nobody out. Eftink strikes out Osh swinging. Next batter, Woolsey hammers a pitch the other way. Right fielder makes a good running catch, but then overthrows the cutoff man, and Harrion scores on the error. The Hawks on the board, 1-0. Woolsey gets Thompson looking for the 1st out in the top of the 3rd. Newell singles on a ground ball to left field, 1 on 1 out. Newell steals 2nd, and the Cubs have a man in scoring position. After a walk and a pass ball, Newell advances to 3rd. Richardson grounds out to the third baseman, and Bell City manufactures a run. We're tied 1-1 in the top of the third. Bottom of the third, Peters reaches on an error. Dollins grounds out to second, and first baseman Stubbenrau fires home to get Peters trying to score. Top of the fourth inning now, 1-1 game, and Woolsey sets him down in order. After a walk, the Cubs catch a break when Harrion lines into a double play by first baseman Stubbenrau. Bottom of the fifth, 2 outs. Peters singles on a line drive to center. On the next batter, Peters would be caught stealing second to end the inning. Top of the sixth, Eftink leading off for Bell City, and he singles on a ground ball to center field. With Richardson at the plate, Eftink advances to second on a pass ball. Carroll Richardson does his job. He lays down the sac bunt, and Eftink advances to third. Bell City's Dawson Looms hits a hard ground ball to the second baseman, and he's going to reach on an error. Eftink scores from third, and Bell City takes the lead 2-1 in the top of the sixth.